The security map of Nigeria is being violently redrawn right before our eyes this January 2026, and the reports coming out of the North Central region are causing serious sleepless nights for residents, security experts, and every patriot who cares about the stability of this nation. We have been tracking the movement of these armed groups for months, and the latest intelligence suggests a massive strategic relocation that could turn the once peaceful forests of Kwara State into the new epicenter of the banditry crisis. Following the intense military bombardment in Zamfara and Sokoto, where the Nigerian Air Force and their international partners have made life unbearable for these criminals, the bad guys are looking for a new home, and it appears they have set their sights on the vast, ungoverned spaces linking Kwara, Niger State, and the Benin Republic border. The headline is not just a rumor, it is a reflection of the terrifying reality facing communities in Kaiama, Baruten, and even the southern parts of the state today. The gist is that the bandits are not just running, they are regrouping, and they are bringing their brand of terror to a state that was once considered a safe haven, creating a situation that demands our urgent attention. We are seeing a very dangerous pattern emerging this new year that we cannot ignore. Reports from locals in the Bani community of Baruten local government area indicate that strange faces, heavily armed and moving in convoys of motorcycles, have been spotted infiltrating the forests that border the Kainji Lake National Park. This is what security analysts call displacement spillover. When you squeeze the balloon in the northwest, it expands in the north-central. The specific group causing the most alarm is a newly identified terror franchise known as the Mahmuda Group, which is reportedly a breakaway faction of Boko Haram that has formed an unholy alliance with the fleeing Zamfara bandits. These guys are not just hiding, they are allegedly enforcing their own laws, collecting taxes from farmers, and turning the forest sectors into their personal fiefdoms. The fear is palpable in Ilorin as the distance between these forest war zones and the state capital feels shorter every day, and the stories coming out of the rural areas are enough to make your blood run cold. But here's where the story gets even more complicated and captivating. This is the conversation that everyone is arguing about in the markets and on social media. While the villagers in Kwara South are crying out that they are under siege, with reports of over 22 people currently held hostage and a staggering 400 million naira ransom being demanded, the official authorities are pushing back against the narrative. The Kwara State Police Command has come out to forcefully debunk the claims that bandits have permanently relocated to Bani. They are calling it false and misleading, insisting that Kwara remains safe and that these are just isolated movements. This has created a massive disconnect between what the government says on paper and what the people are feeling on the ground. How can a state be safe when communities in Isapa, Adanla, and Owaonire are negotiating with kidnappers who are demanding food, drinks, and millions in cash? The people are asking, are we waiting for a full-blown takeover before we admit the truth? This contradiction is fueling panic because if the authorities deny the problem, how can they fix it? If you are watching this and you want to know the truth about what is really happening in Nigeria's security landscape beyond the official press releases, you need to do something right now. Smash that like button to help this video spread, and more importantly, hit that subscribe button. We don't just read the news, we dig into the reports that others are afraid to touch. By subscribing, you are joining a community that demands accountability and safety for every Nigerian. So click that button and let's keep this conversation alive. Your subscription helps us keep the lights on and the information flowing, so don't delay, join the family today. Now, let's look at what is actually being done to stop this migration, because the government is definitely not sitting on its hands. Governor AbdulRazaq is fully aware that if Kwara falls to the bandits, the gateway to the southwest is wide open, and that would be a national catastrophe. In a major move to counter this threat, the state government has just concluded the training and deployment of 1,000 Harmonized Forest Guards. These are not your average security personnel, they are local hunters and vigilantes who know the terrain better than anyone else, and they have been tasked with taking the war directly to the bandits in the bush. We are talking about men who know every cave, every stream, and every hidden path in the forests. Furthermore, the Nigerian Army's 22 Armored Brigade has launched Operation Park Strike 4 and 5, specifically targeting the Kainji Lake National Park and the border areas of Bogu and Kaiama. We are seeing a build-up of military hardware in these regions that is unprecedented. The governor has praised the army for flushing out criminals, but the question remains, is it enough to stop a tidal wave of fighters fleeing the precision airstrikes in the northwest? Can 1,000 forest guards stand up to battle-hardened terrorists who have survived years of warfare in Zamfara? The situation in Kwara South is particularly heartbreaking and requires us to look closer at the human cost. We have confirmed reports that kidnappers are now demanding not just money, but logistics, foodstuffs, motorcycles, and fuel to sustain their camps. This is a classic sign that they are settling in for the long haul. They are not just passing through, they are setting up a base of operations. In Adanla community, families are scrambling to raise a 300 million naira ransom for 9 victims abducted on Christmas Day. Just imagine the trauma of celebrating Christmas one day and facing this nightmare the next. The bandits have threatened the unthinkable if their demands are not met, putting immense psychological pressure on the entire region. This is the new face of the war in 2026. It's not just about ideology, it's about a criminal economy that is shifting its headquarters from the savannas of Zamfara to the forests of Kwara. The Mahmuda group and their allies are trying to carve out a territory where they can operate with impunity, just like they did in the northwest, and they are using the lives of innocent villagers as their bargaining chips. We also have to talk about the tactical implications of the Kainji Lake National Park becoming a battleground. This is a massive, dense forest that stretches across states, providing the perfect cover for asymmetrical warfare. The bandits are using the park's density to hide from aerial surveillance, which makes the job of the Nigerian Air Force much harder than it was in the more open terrains of the northwest. Security experts are warning that if these groups are allowed to consolidate their hold on this park, it could become a Sambisa Forest 2.0 in the heart of north-central Nigeria. This is why the deployment of the 22 Armored Brigade is so critical. They are trying to create a buffer zone, a ring of steel that prevents the bandits from moving deeper into the state or crossing over into the southwest. But the terrain is difficult and the enemy is adaptable. The bandits are reportedly using motorbikes to navigate the narrow forest paths, striking remote villages like Woro in Kaiama LGA and then vanishing before the military can respond. It is a game of mouse and cat, but the stakes are human lives. The coming weeks will be absolutely critical in determining the future of this region. Will the combined force of the military's Operation Fansan Yama, which is sweeping across the northwest, and the new forest guards be able to push these invaders back? Or will Kwara become the new Zamfara, a state held hostage by warlords in the bush? The residents of border towns are living with their bags packed, ready to flee at the sound of a motorcycle engine. We are monitoring the situation in Kaiama and Baruten hour by hour, listening to the cries of the people in Isapa and Owaonire. This is a developing story that affects every single Nigerian, because if the center cannot hold, the instability spreads everywhere. The federal government has graduated over 7,000 forest guards nationwide to help with this exact problem, but implementation is key. We need to see boots on the ground, we need to see intelligence being shared, and we need to see a united front between the police, the army, and the local vigilantes. We will continue to bring you the raw, unfiltered updates from the front lines of this new war zone. Thank you for watching, stay safe out there, and remember that staying informed is your first line of defense.